Well, welcome everyone. Those who are still coming in. My name is Garrett Walsh, and I'm a business consultant here at Enterprise Agriware. Today, our webinar will be covering the potentials of using Microsoft Copilot to optimize your daily operations. We felt it would be interesting to ask if you could automate with Agriware 365. And our demo today is intended to show and tell just some of the capabilities that we have of utilizing this tool. Our goal is to show how Copilot can bridge the gap between intention and execution within Microsoft and ultimately within Agriware Business Central. Um, Again, I'm Garrett Walsh, and I'll be kind of your co-host today. And I'd be more than remiss, as we did with the last webinar. I'm here with our Chief Product Officer, William. William, would you like to introduce yourself to everyone?
Yes, I will. Thank you, Garrett. I'm William Valuna, Chief Product Officer at Enterprise Agriware, working in the industry with this company already for 15 years. And yeah, my passion is to bridge the gap between IT and business. And I think today is a great example how technology can have empower businesses to achieve more with less effort. So I'm looking forward to share these great things with you.
Awesome. That sounds fantastic. Let me encourage all the participants of today's webinar to feel free to drop any questions. I can tell you the format of today's webinar, where the last webinar was a lot more tell, this is going to be a lot more show. So we really want to have that fluid, dynamic environment that allows some flexibility to ask questions. So please feel free to use that chat, and we'll do our very best to answer any questions that we have. And then lastly, I'll mention that our webinar today will be available for download and then also review for some future reference. If there's any kind of overarching theme that we want to kind of present with today's webinar, it's to inspire. It's that spark of inspiration that shows you the capability of what you can do. It's a very exciting time to kind of jump into this, and we're really excited here at Enterprise to really see and understand all the capability. And before we jump into the capability of Copilot, as we mentioned in the first webinar, again, we at Enterprise, we see ourselves as the partner who understands the day-to-day horticulture operations across the entire spectrum of the industry. And we want to make sure that Agriware as a whole is a platform that you can use as a tool to unify your business. At Enterprise, our primary focus is executional excellence. And that really goes down to the day-to-day level. It's great to think at a 30,000-foot view, but ultimately the actions, the execution really happens on that ground floor. And we at Enterprise really see ourselves there with you. We pride ourselves on being able to partner with Microsoft, and it really allows us to turn our aspirations into reality. Our partnership with Microsoft has allowed us to have future-proof technology, which really lays the foundation for constant innovation and discovery. And that's probably the overall thing that we'll cover today is really what are some of those insights? What are some of those innovations and discoveries kind of coming down? William, how would you kind of describe that relationship with Microsoft and really the kicking off point of what's to come?
Yeah, well, I think we with Microsoft now for 15 years from the beginning. And what you see is Microsoft is constantly innovating their stuff, and we can just rely on their innovation. So that means that we can focus on building tools specifically for horticulture, and all the other things, platforms, is brought by Microsoft. And of course, in the last years, it was more about cloud. So moving to cloud, integrating Business Central and our tools with other applications. And what you see now is, since we are in the cloud, that a lot of capabilities now comes available, like Copilot, AI, and other smart tools. Also integration with other Office applications. So kind of moving from a silo ERP to a kind of full platform business solution where everything ties together. Yeah, so I think that's the power of what Microsoft is bringing, and where we can just rely on and combining the state-of-the-art technology with great horticulture-specific functionality. Yeah, as we also see today. So that's I think a very strong proposition for our customers.
So really one of the biggest key aspects of transitioning to the cloud is that all that capability, kind of limitless potential, being that that's now the new foundation.
Exactly.
Once we've made that transition, all we're looking at is straight up. That's incredible. The other thing is kind of would be remiss if we weren't looking at the screen as well. Is you'll notice that here at Enterprise, we're a combination of consultants, developers, project managers, product owners, and we comprise of employees that are located all over the world. We have the ability to have 24-hour support and access, and the majority of our employees either have direct involvement or prior involvement within production horticulture or the direct IT world. And I think that's really where this unique partnership really kind of allows itself to grow, is because of the foundation that we are on Microsoft and being future proof, and the fact that we can rely on past experiences and expertise. We can really combine those two efforts to make a single use product that is resilient, can continue to evolve, and also transform your daily operations.
Yeah, very good.
No worries. And as we covered in our last webinar, this is my favorite saying as well. Hopefully I trademarked it enough at my time here at Enterprise so far. What you're seeing right now is our triangle of opportunity here, and this graphic is the best representation of how Agriware can integrate your daily operations. And at the center, you'll notice is your farm, hopefully, where all the magic happens. Here we surround ourselves at that center with three pillars of our platform. And you'll notice the dynamic relationship between Agriware BC, the Agriware 365 Analytics, and also Agriware 365 Operations. This, again, pillar of opportunity allows us to support your daily operations all throughout our entire platform within Agriware. And I know we can kind of talk about this forever, and I've been known to drown on about this. So I'm going to give it to William. William, what's our take-home message here when we're looking at this graphic? What does it encompass?
I think the main message here, key message, is that we covering the whole business. So where traditional ERP focuses on back office planning, and of course we have that all, sales, finance. That's on the left bottom. But with operations, we focus fully on everything what happens on the work floor, because there you don't want to have mobile ERP, because ERP is not suited for mobile devices. So we have kind of tailor-made apps for different roles, such as supervisors or inspectors or everything you find on the work floor, where we can do kind of refining what you have planned in your ERP back office, refine that to who needs to do what, when, but also ad hoc movements, keep track of inventory. And of course, that's kind of interacts with the back office in real time. So it's not an isolated product, but it's tailor-made for the roles on the work floor. And you can imagine that we're collecting a lot of data, because we track everything what happens on the work floor and the planning, which we can kind of bring together in our analytics solution, where we can combine plan data with actuals, so you can measure performance and refine your recipes and labor standards and so on. And ultimately combine that also with data from climate systems, for example. So you can find correlations between climate and performance of your production, or do kind of cost calculation of actual consumption of energy, such as gas or electricity. So then you know exactly what you've consumed from our system. You know exactly what production beds was on what position when. So putting it together, you know exactly what the energy cost is for that batch. I think that's a great example of what's visualized in this picture, where everything comes together. And not to forget on the bottom, integration with greenhouse automation. So with kind of systems, with automated systems, machines. That's also something we support.
An
So
interesting parallel with that, and I was just thinking about it, is we have that ability to work with automation, and that again, that is continued to grow and will continue to grow over the years, especially as it regards to specific operations. And if you kind of think about it, our demo today when we're going through Copilot, it's the same exact tool. It is a tool just like you would use those automated planters or automated sorters, or because again, it allows us to interact with what we have to do from an operational perspective and ultimately execute. And so it's an interesting tie-in there, where yes, this is our standard platform. Yes, we're already working with tools to again refine and make our process more efficient. And so the tool that we're introducing today, Copilot, is in that same arsenal.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about. I had a discussion today with Corvus Drones. It's a company from the Netherlands. They fly with drones to the greenhouse, and they can do a germination count just from flying, and they allocate which job is where. So we're now working on an integration with their system. So yeah, you can fully automate count your complete greenhouse with usable plants, and which also helps you to kind of fine tune your sorting machine based on your available plants. And the funny thing is that we built this integration in a few hours.
Right.
And of course, it's the first version, but it proves that with the tools we have available, you can rapidly integrate with these kind of intelligent systems. So that's it's very nice. Yeah.
And so,
Okay. Well, that's
and
that's
so,
good.
yeah. Actually, I'm gonna let you. This is kind of that handoff moment where I'm so glad you're with me, helping me give this demo because again, as I understand it, AI is still a buzzword. Again, there's a tremendous amount of information out there on the web of what it is, what it isn't, what it's coming for, what it's not coming for, all of it. And so I'm so glad you're here with me, William, today to understand about this a little further. So I'm kind of pass the baton here to kind of just give us an overview of what AI is, and then ultimately we'll see what Copilot is and the organization of that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to focus on Copilot later. I mean, we've mentioned it now a few times.
Hmm.
But yeah, AI is a buzzword, right? So, and I'm not going to explain exactly what AI is because we don't have the time for that. But basically, it's about computers performing tasks that typically require human intelligence, such as understanding language or calculations or kind of interpretations, translations. And sometimes it might sound scary. I mean, is AI taking over the world? Well, I don't think so. I think yeah, we are already used to AI using Netflix and Spotify, where they have recommendation systems. I mean, they know exactly what you like and what you probably want to view or listen next. I think everyone is familiar with ChatGPT already, or Gemini, which is the Google variant of it, where you can just ask questions, do translation, and so on. So it's coming very close by, and well, I read a quote a while ago was saying, well, AI is not going to replace the human being, but humans with using AI are going to replace humans without not using AI. And I think, yeah, that's definitely true. So it's something which is here, which we have to start using, and it's going to empower us as human, and it's not going to kind of take us over, well, in my belief. But it is changing the world.
It's
And
interesting, like the virtual assistants we have listed there. It's crazy how that was introduced, and then ultimately how it started getting used. And like you said, using it as a tool and being able to utilize it. Firstly, I can tell you, I now have a grocery list where all the ingredients are spelled correctly and they actually get properly picked up. And so, being able just to even use just the simple nuance of Siri like that or Alexa, if I was making a shopping list, is kind of fundamental. And actually, now it's kind of second nature. So it's interesting that
yeah.
as a society, we kind of jumped in, and then now it's really that full capabilities kind of coming on in.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I think as consumers, we already use these systems. I think the next step, what's going on, is that all these intelligent stuff is kind of injected in business applications, and that's exactly where Microsoft is focusing on with Copilot. So, well, Copilot in a nutshell, you can see it as a ChatGPT embedded in Microsoft applications. So behind Copilot, there is the OpenAI technology, which is also the company behind ChatGPT. And it can act like your personal assistant. It can summarize a large text. It can review text. You can create concepts. I think that's also what you are familiar with from the ChatGPT functionality. I think the great thing is this allows you to interact with machines or computers in natural language, and that's exactly what we'll see yeah, later on in this webinar, where you don't have to be a whiz kid to kind of instruct your computer. Just write what you want, and it will do.
And
So Yeah.
I know how you mentioned before where it's kind of one of those things where the train's leaving the station and those who get on, early adopters will probably be the most successful just because they gain that relationship. How what is the history of Copilot itself within Microsoft? Are they playing just catch up to the game? What does that look like? I mean, really, what is that history?
I mean, Microsoft is they have a huge share in OpenAI. A while ago, they kind of run into OpenAI as a company, and they put a lot of money in the technology. And I mean, that's why we have ChatGPT right now. But I think their main objective is to have that technology available in all of their systems, and not just in single applications, but it's also a way to kind of combine all the applications together, let it talk to each other, let us talk to all the applications via natural language. So they're investing heavily in this functionality. So this is not a one-day fly. This is changing the whole Microsoft stack and also how we do software in that sense. I think it's very promising, and it will simplify also our recurring tasks. Things we had to do by hand in the past or write code to do it, you can now do it yourself, and also find information you need. That's something I can elaborate a bit more on later. But it's not a search engine, but it really helps you to search in a better way.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed as we've been prepping for this webinar is again, it's you have to have this creativity to kind of think outside your normal parameters because
Mhm.
the tool is only as good as you use it. And that's the same thing that goes for our ERP. Again, any information that we put in is what we're going to get out. And what kind of made me think just in a different mindset, different shift in my mindset was understanding how to approach it, understanding the questions to ask, understanding kind of
Yeah.
the limitless possibilities, and actually I get to be creative in a field that I'm still very much new to, and so that's what probably is the most exciting.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's something we are discovering, I think, as in the world. So yeah, what are the great applications of this tool? And also Microsoft is experimenting a lot, but it's also a matter of start playing with it, and then you can see the capabilities and come up with business use cases to implement these tools. Yeah, I think today we will kind of address a few of them, but there will be way more. I think it's good, Garrett, to also explain a bit more what's behind Copilot, without making it too technical. I think it's good, yeah, to understand how that works. So this picture kind of visualizes the Copilot way of working. So you approach it from Microsoft 365 apps. Well, that's the new term, what they called Office in the past. So it's just Microsoft Office, but also the business applications and so on. And what you can do as a user is ask questions or give instructions to Copilot. And so compared to if you ask questions to ChatGPT, for example, it kind of gives you an answer based on the knowledge that the model has. And ChatGPT is trained by data from the internet. And I think ChatGPT 3.5 has data until 2022, and the later versions has data until 2023. So the data, what it's using to answer you is always outdated, actually. But if you're using this within your company, you can kind of use your actual data, which lives within your company. So that's what you see below. It's called Microsoft Graph, and that's a kind of technology which puts every data, all the data you have together in a way that you can query it. It could be emails, files, meetings, chats with Teams, your calendar, your contacts, but also your Business Central data, for example. And the great thing is that's kind of your prompts, your questions are first directed to your data, and together with your data, the large language model, well, that's technology which translates your question into an answer, but that's using your company data. And I think that's very powerful that you can query everything within your kind of permission scope in the company with Copilot.
So that's really one of the fundamental differences between Copilot and ChatGPT, where ChatGPT
Yeah,
is your foundation is the internet. And again, it's the internet at 2022. And we all know how quickly things change and things work. And it really is, at that sense, a glorified search engine, but being able to utilize Copilot. And
yeah,
especially if
definitely.
especially if you're already integrating a lot of those Office components, it's tying in an entire different foundation. It's putting all of your contributions to your own data, to your own system, to your team, and then also combining that with the foundation of the internet and then working together. Then okay, so random question. Is that just the beginning? Is it almost the more information you feed into it, the more you're going to gain out of it?
Yes, the more information you feed in, the better the model gets trained. But I think the most important thing is that you feed reliant data, because if it searches on the internet, who tells you that that's the truth? That's you never know. So I think the most important thing is that you kind of base your Copilot on your own data, where you manage your data in a way that you know that it's telling the truth. So if your employees question Copilot, that it answers something which is true for your company. I think that's the most important element of this.
Got it. One thing I've seen, and again, I see all this transfer of data, both either internally and externally. Something that pops in my mind always, just because I'm still learning and understanding more, is what does security look like? Is it the same for this component? Essentially, what does that entail?
Yeah, that's a very good question, because I mean, if you feed kind of sensitive data to Copilot, so what happens? If you use just a ChatGPT environment, you send your data to the public internet, and it's not necessarily that they use it for training, but they could. But in this Copilot environment, it's completely kind of isolated to your Microsoft environment, and they guarantee that what you query, what your data is, what data you connect, is kind of kept within your tenant, your environment only. So that will never be leaked to other environments, and they even can't access it themselves. So it's very secure. I had a picture in mind to put it here, but it was too crowded. But there were kind of security elements all over the place, with every line, every dot was a security identifier. So that's on that top priority list in this technology.
Perfect.
Yeah. And so maybe it's good to kind of start showing what it really does, because we talking about what it is, which helps.
Right, right. I can only go
S-
so far. As many creative words as I can use, there's still gonna be nothing better than actually showing that demo. So yeah, go for it. Let's see
yeah,
it. I'm excited.
yeah, exactly. So I'll start with the basics, just the Copilot for Office applications. You have it in PowerPoint, Excel, Outlook, Teams, for example. And as you see here in Excel, you can just create a bar chart with a balance per salesperson, and it will create a bar chart for you. Let me see where I had this example. So I'll just have this Copilot button here. And if it's here, you can open it and start asking questions. So what I did is just ask, hey, create a pivot with balance per salesperson, and it creates a pivot. And if you want to have it, you have it here. So also this is by natural language. If you go for another example, what you'll notice is this is saying preview. I think it's good to mention that's the state of this feature for Microsoft. So they call it preview, so they're still testing it, but yeah, it is fully workable.
For the
Um,
people watching, is it how do we get that button more or less? Say we have Excel, which again is pretty
yeah.
uniform across. Is this something we can go ahead and again like it suggests preview? Can we go ahead and start trialing this within Excel of our own dashboard?
Yes, but for Copilot in Office, you will need a license, a Copilot license. And when you have that license, the button will just appear,
Got it.
and then you can just start using it. Yeah, yeah. So things you can do here is, for example, sort by name. And I think it's faster to click the column. But okay, it's just an example that it understands what you're talking about. And now it's sorted by name. I can also, for example, filter balance greater than 0, and it will filter the records for me. In the same way, I can add columns. I think there were a few suggestions in the beginning, where you can, well, it's not the right button, where you can highlight. So I could say highlight where the balance is greater than 0, or make bold. I can add columns with formulas. So just by entering. And I think this is nice if you, well, don't really know how to do it. And I think Excel is a simple example. But yeah, they will definitely come up with more capabilities of kind of querying this Excel sheet. So for another example, I'm not going to show, but is in PowerPoint, you can create a PowerPoint presentation based on content. So if you have a Word document with a report of something, you can just say, create a PowerPoint from this, and it will suggest about 10 slides.
Yeah, and so this is kind of we're excited about this graphic because again, it's very similar to the triangle of opportunity, but this is how it really relates with your day-to-day business, how it relates to your farm and all these different roles. And what we see as each green box is the opportunity to again utilize this tool within that role. We will show some today, but again, we listed all of them just to kind of spark that imagination to see if there's any kind of follow-up things that we've got. But the most exciting thing that we're looking at is how can we start to integrate Copilot within these specific roles. And what we're seeing is every single time we meet with our customers and we meet with our base, this possibility. All we're really looking for are those beginning questions. Hey, what if it did this? What if it did this? And again, that's where our consultants, we get to work with you on exploring that, coming up with that discovery and really kind of figuring that out. And so kind of just to start all that off, we're going to go over order entry and really kind of how Copilot can help kind of automate that process.
Yeah, so let's start with a case where you receive orders in Excel from different customers, and probably they have their own format because no one is kind of providing exactly the same. And I know EDI connections are way better, but we still see this is happening. So you should kind of unify this format of the Excel files to be able to import that into your ERP system. I think Copilot is a great tool to support it. Just translate any format in your format without manual handling.
So essentially,
Uh,
this would streamline that role. I mean, we all know, especially dealing with multiple different clients, everyone has their own
mhm.
unique way of doing things, whether it be on pen and paper or various Excel sheets. When we receive them, oftentimes it's that very labor intensive, stressful part of receiving those orders and then making sure that we type in that information. And again, any information that's like that, it runs the possibility of error, and so Copilot essentially can resolve that.
Yeah, exactly. So I have an example in a few formats. So this is giving a list of items this customer is ordering with a certain quantity and a requested date. But you see here the columns are in a different order, and here it's not called quantity, but it's called amount, and not item but product, and the date is different. So I mean, the system expects normally a single format. So what I did is create an instruction, and I have this instruction here, which is called a prompt. And let's assume you want to have it in an XML structure. So then we go to Copilot. Let's open the right thing and start a new chat. And say, okay, I'm going to give you text, and please translate that in an XML file in this format. So then say, okay, certainly I will. Then I copy this part of the table, put it in Copilot chat, and it will respond with an XML file. So if I would have to do this manually, it costs quite some time. You can also do it in JSON, which is another format, whatever. But you'll see if I do the same with, so let's ask him again to do the same thing. And then with this amount, well, let's pick this one first, with other columns. And then even though it has a different structure, it will reply in the same format. And so it understands what this text is about. It also understands that product is similar to item and amount is similar to quantity. So it matches these elements. So it's kind of very flexible that if you can have an interpretation of the data, then Copilot can translate that for you. Okay, but doing that in Copilot chat, well, you see it's going back and forward. So you can also do that in Excel. And I've done exactly the same. I just selected this table and said, okay, please transform this in XML, and it transforms it into XML. So this is already faster. So yeah, it's just a use case where you can unify file formats without doing any coding. It's just asking Copilot to do it for you and give them an instruction how you want to have the response. And I think this is yeah, a great example of what Copilot could do in terms of translations, because it is translations, not of natural language, but translation of a data structure.
So really that's what's so interesting is this advent of using Copilot almost kind of opens up the door of possibilities to kind of have no code specific actions of future things that really allows each operation to really understand how to use AI, and then, agnostic of the platform it's on, you could actually do things without any coding, without any customization. And that's kind of the most exciting thing to me, because again, it elicits action, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and what I just showed is the kind of complex example, because of course we can make this way easier also using Copilot. And I know you're going to ask me, can we do it in a simple way? And of course we can.
Thank you.
Yeah, so let me continue with this, because with the same technology, we can directly kind of import this data into Business Central. So let me show you how that works. So I'm going to Business Central. This is my list of existing orders. And I have a button here, draft a sales order with Copilot. And it asks me kind of to put in my prompt, my text, my order. So I can just copy this from Excel and say, I'm losing my mouse, so now and then. Copy just this and put it here and generate the sales order from there. So it will translate that text into a structure which Business Central understands, and it comes up, as you see, with 4 lines with the right quantities and the right dates. And also here, it doesn't really matter in what format you put it, because if I select these things, and my mouse is gone. Let me do it in 2. So if I put the other table structure here with the other column order, yeah, again, it's what you would expect after this, the other demo. It also understands what it should do. So you can also use it as a kind of Excel import, right? So kind of whatever structure you have, if it's understandable in a way, it will translate this directly into an order. I think this saves you a lot of time. And we have a real customer case where they are still receiving a lot of orders via WhatsApp and via email. Yeah, this is a perfect way of saving time typing it over. So how cool is that?
Yeah, I think that's fantastic.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. So one last, because I'm too excited. Sorry about it. So this is an email I got. I mean, someone is very happy with his plan, so want to order more. And you see again, this is also a different structure where the customer is just in the footer. But I can also copy this email text in the same way it's translated into this sales order. So this is pretty cool. And of course, you can kind of check whether everything is okay. You can make corrections if needed, or kind of enrich the data. And if you want to keep it, you can keep it, and you have your sales order there.
That's fantastic. Yeah, that really actually plays really well with the release function as well as Business Central to automate that process. Whoever is inputting those sales orders, hey, let me do all this. Let me see what I have, and then right before I release it, let's have that double check on process, and we're golden.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So, well, that's the draft sales order with Copilot. But of course, you can do more within the application, and this is something Microsoft is also working on, and this will come available in a few weeks, where you can also make changes to your sales order with Copilot. So there are some examples like copy the previous order or create lines from a bullet list. Again, turn Excel into an order. That's similar to what we just saw. So there are a lot of kind of instructions you can just give Copilot, and it does it for you. So you can kind of control the application with your natural language. And yeah, I think this is just the beginning. I
Yeah,
mean, you
this
can,
aspect is the most exciting for me because again, this is proof of the fact that now we're using AI to with no code, low code, essentially no customizations, our standard platform, utilizing this AI tool to now streamline your process. And so instead of having to develop and trial and do all these things, being that we are with Microsoft and being able to take advantage of that relationship and they're aware of these similar components, I think it's just the beginning of being able to be very, very flexible, because we have all this capability and then really narrowing it down to what we would like to do for our business.
Yes, exactly. And we've seen if you have a kind of use case, it's very easy to implement because we just have a toolkit which we can use to build these capabilities. And it's a very low effort to build it. So if you have something you want to automate, it's really easy to simplify that with Copilot. And that's also what we're aiming for, to kind of provide as many as features we can think of to simplify the work of our users. Let's move on, Garrett, because
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're
we're
going through it. This next one we're going to kind
yeah.
of cover is in regards to treatment procedures. We just covered the back office with sales and how we're going to input that sales, but ultimately the lifetime that the growers have taken to put into care, oftentimes multi generations, to learn growing recipes, standard operating procedures, whether that adheres to food safety policy. We have all that information and it's amazing and it's incredible to adhere to, but just as we all are busy, how do we best access that information? Just because we have it doesn't necessarily mean we know how to utilize it, and that's probably another component where Copilot's going to come on in. And so I'd love for you to show us that, William, if you could.
Yes, sure. So this is not necessarily about having structured data in your system, because some things you have policies just in documents somewhere within your company. And in this example, I have created a kind of policy about diseases and how to treat it. And you can also have some other policies behind it. And I think the great thing is that just everyone in your organization can just ask Copilot about a certain disease, how to treat it, what a policy is. It will kind of bring you to the right place where your kind of company policy is located. So from any application where you have Copilot, you can do this. I will just do it from the chat. So well, I could ask like, how do I recognize? How do I recognize? Or was it stripe first? It's not asking for a question mark. And let's come on. So what it does, it first searches in my local company environment for something related to stripe rust. And it found something because I have a document which kind of mentions this disease and also how to treat it and so on. So this is the first step that it kind of brings you to the right place. So you don't have to remember where the document is, it finds it for you. But you can also ask, like, what are the symptoms? How can I prevent? And then you can kind of ask additional questions, which again looks into that same data and brings it up. And
This
I think
this would be invaluable for food safety audits, for anything that we need to reference preventative maintenance, where those logs are. It again, I'm envious that I never had this before when I was in that role. It is quite incredible.
Yeah, I think you can apply this to many other cases where you want to have your company truth, so how you do it as a company, available for everyone. And again, that's not always possible to put it in a system. And in this way, you make it very easily accessible for your employees. Think about things related to AR or regulations or whatever you have within your company. And my ultimate goal, of course, is that if you ask about this disease, that you could say, okay, this job or this bed, I want to be treated, and that it creates in your system an assignment to execute a treatment. That's something which we're really heading to, not possible today. I think that's the ultimate goal, to bring these worlds together.
Right, because then that bridges the gap between growing and ultimately operations in terms of execution, and that's incredible.
Yeah. I also tried it myself within our organization. So I asked Copilot, for example, what is the roadmap for 2024? And it just came with this bullet list with the main items. And that was based on a PowerPoint presentation I made with a public roadmap. So it just understood that this PowerPoint is about the roadmap, it's the latest version. And based on, this is just a picture, this PowerPoint, it came up with these bullets. And also for our internal organization, I think this is quite powerful, because otherwise they have to ask me, and now they don't. They just ask Copilot.
You've actually, I had a light bulb moment there. I know that shipping documents, import and export, is huge, especially for a lot of our customers. Being that we're able to look through documents, could this be a possible avenue to help with assistance of that?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's similar to these examples, that if you have stored somewhere, that if you want to ship to Nicaragua or whatever, then these documents are mandatory. And if you have this stored somewhere on your SharePoint, that people can just ask Copilot, hey, I have an order to Nicaragua or to this customer, and Copilot knows where this customer is located. And it tells you what you have to arrange. I think, that's really powerful to have that knowledge accessible from a single place.
Right.
Definitely. There was the treatment procedure part. So I also have an example in the area of finance. So let's have a look on that. I'm not going to show this in a live demo. So what I'm going to do is, behind this picture, there's a hyperlink to a video. I think it's really worth looking at. So if we share this presentation, you can look at it yourself. But this is a feature by Microsoft where they do bank account reconciliation. So when you import the payments from your bank, it kind of matches the payments with the open entries. and in a smart way. So normally it just looks at the reference of the invoice number or the customer number, but it doesn't always match exactly. And we're using Copilot, it's kind of smart matching mechanism where it just helps you to match way better than it did before. And yeah, this is one of the examples Microsoft introduced, and they're coming up with a lot of features later this year, which yeah, I think like this are really helpful and saves time. Well, I do have another few examples in this area. So sales and inventory forecasting is also something which is available. So it just kind of brings some data to and the Azure environment where they calculate and bring it back in Business Central. Cash flow analysis, and what I also like is late payment prediction, because of course you have history in your system, so it can easily predict when customers are likely to well, pay, and yeah, that's also translated in the cash flow analysis. So yeah, pretty cool. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of kind of documentation of this online. I think it's also good to refer to that so people can have a look at it after this webinar. Okay, with you, Garrett?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think our next slide, more or less, is we've shown a lot of the capability, and this is what's probably the most exciting. I would like to invite everyone on the call, and then also those who are watching this, weeks down the road, is we're excited here at Enterprise to build this aspect with you. We are just as excited about this technology as you are, and the potential of it. And like we have over the entirety of our business, we really pride ourselves as being that partner that helps explore new areas, new possibilities here. And ultimately, this is a lot of hype, but our goal is, again, executional excellence. We want to make sure we see this within, bringing it to reality. And while we can do some of the very, very simple tasks in terms of the personal assistance and interacting with other different aspects of natural language, we really want to kind of build on this and really kind of build that. So again, I would propose anyone to feel free to reach out to us at any time to kind of bring that all back in. But ultimately, what we really want to look at is how does Copilot bring value to your business? And hopefully we started that spark of information here. And so kind of bringing all back to full circle, because we are kind of running out of time a little bit. We'll kind of just go over this brief thing, and William, I'm kind of going to give it to you just to kind of all encompass, bring us back home in terms of understanding of really what Copilot is for your daily operation.
Yeah. So just in a few minutes. So what I'm trying to visualize with this slide is that Copilot is drastically changing how people interact with the system. So imagine that you have one application, whether it's Copilot or it's Business Central in our case, where your employee can just ask anything. So it can ask to Copilot, okay, what have I missed? When I was a day off, what was my last interaction? So whether it's talking with your ERP system or talking with your calendar or email, that's all done via a single place. And I think that's kind of what we're heading to. And also Microsoft is pushing for this. And I think the ultimate example is what's going to happen in Business Central. So what will happen, like what you saw in Excel, kind of a bar where you can chat. Also with Business Central, our kind of basis for Agriware will come up with a chat with Copilot in a few weeks from now. So you can ask, do we have a chair or a plant in our case available in stock under $600, and it will come up with that item. You can click on it and you have that item. So it's not clicking, searching, filtering, it's just asking and it will show. Similar to this example where you ask for quotes, what are the most recent quotes for a certain customer? It will come up with 3, and then you can kind of ask a follow-up question like, okay, but which one was sent to Robert about 3 weeks ago? And then it will come up with just one. You click it and you have your quote. I think, yeah, this shows that talking kind of with your ERP will become way easier. And again, you can also chat here about, okay, how does this feature work? Because it also has access to the online help. Or you ask, what was my last meeting, or what's my next meeting? How can I prepare? Because also this Copilot has access to all the other data sources of you. I think, yeah, that's the ultimate goal. And it's not future. Well, it's future. It's just a few weeks from now. Unfortunately, I was not able to have that preview already. But we will definitely follow up on that, because this is a great kind of turning point in user experience of ERP systems.
Yeah, there's a person behind the ERP curtain, if you would, just like you can interact with Siri or Alexa. It's your magical being that's there, and we just have to come up with a creative name for that assistant as Agriware. So maybe Agriware Al or something. I don't know. That's marketing's job.
Yeah. Yeah,
No,
suggestion.
it's exciting. It really is. And if there's anything that we hopefully have conveyed today is, again, Copilot is that tool, or we want to bridge the gap between intention and execution. We see ourselves as one platform using one application that has endless opportunity. Really a holistic approach where instead of an ERP based on silos and roles, it's now we're bringing that step in, and instead of throwing bodies at certain aspects, we can now utilize and take advantage of this new technology with Copilot to really allow that seamless integration. And like William mentioned before, it's the start of an opportunity. That's probably the most exciting about it. It's one of those is the first early adapters in whatever form of anything are oftentimes the most to pioneer that, and then also the most to take advantage of that and really kind of benefit from that new technology. And we're excited to be that partner with you. That's really kind of how excited we are too, because we can come up with as many things in our head, but when it really affects day-to-day operations, that's what truly brings a smile to our face. And so I actually cannot wait to try the import export shipping document function. I'm kind of thrilled for it, but it's just those use case scenarios that are like that are and important, because again, it's a mind shift changing understanding that this tool can really harmonize all of the aspect to make sure your horticulture business grows.
Yes, definitely. Oh,
That's pretty much it. Hey, we're good. 3 minutes
right,
under, William.
right in
Yeah,
time.
we kind of pulled it out of there. There's some topics we definitely didn't cover, but hopefully this again was that spark of conversation. And what I would encourage you guys to do is if you have any other further questions, ideas, possibilities, please reach out to Martin Jensen or
Definitely.
myself with our information below. We'll be at some trade shows in July, both within Cultivate and then also in Green Tech. And then hopefully by that point, as this new technology continues to evolve, we'll continue to show that possibility. We're as excited about this technology as anything else. And so those are pretty much my final words. William, do you have anything else to say while we wrap up?
So much to say, but there's no time left. What to say? We just kind of had a tip of just the beginning. We missed a lot of elements I would really like to show, talk about, but that will be next time.
As it continues to evolve, we might have a round two of this webinar, and so
Yeah, who knows?
that would be ever exciting. So
Yeah, but maybe people can kind of contribute with use cases or what they would like to see, and then we can focus on that. Would be really nice to hear what kind of the real world sees in this.
absolutely, yeah, specific use cases where we can really put call